I'm joined today by Tom Pooch Picciano, who is fighting in Times Square on August 15th for the debut of Victory Fight League against Jay Pressley. How's it going today, Tom?
It's going good, bro. Thanks for having me on.
So just a few days out. I think we just saying before I hit record, about 4 days to weigh-ins, 5 days to fighting. Times Square, as a member of like the Long Island area, how does it feel to be fighting in Times Square?
It's definitely a surreal moment, stuff like this doesn't happen all the time. Like, there's cards in the garden and stuff, but obviously if you're not the UFC or the PFL, you're not getting in the garden. But to have this card outside in Times Square, like right outside the garden, kind of like that boxing card. I know they do that sometimes. Like Devin Haney was on it, and Ryan Garcia was on it. It's definitely a really, really. It's cool that I got to be a part of this piece of MMA history that's coming up this week.
Yeah, and they did a stat card. It's I think only a few fights. I don't know if the full card has been announced yet or if that is the full card, but it's a lot of New York versus everybody.
Yeah,
Your stereotypical New York versus everybody kind of card.
yeah,
You have names like Solomon Renfro, who people have known from like the PFL and Contender Series. You have TJ Brown, who was in the UFC and is now basically doing side quests against everything.
yeah.
And then yourself and John O'Day and all these names that anyone who either just watches UFC knows, or any of the regional guys, they're gonna know someone in each of the fights, which is also impressive. But on Times Square though, you got to touch on like the ring boxing event. It was promoted as being like in the middle of Times Square, and then it was like locked down. Victory at least has come forward and said, "Hey, like you're not going to see this like just walking on the streets. It's going
Mm-hmm.
to be kind of locked down and all." But like, do you still feel like the atmosphere is being somewhat in Times Square as a whole is going to add to the card itself?
Yeah, I think so. I think that, I mean, myself included, obviously, but I think every fighter on that card is gonna have that little bit of extra oomph, like to go for the knockout, go get the sub, fight a little bit harder, because, like I said, it's a piece of MMA history. This has never been done before, and they put this together. It's pretty well organized, and yeah, like you said, they got a stacked card. TJ Brown, what's name, Julio Arce, Solomon, me, John O'Day. This is a real stacked card, and everybody who's bought a ticket or is going to watch the pay-per-view is definitely in for a treat.
And across the cage from you will be Jay Pressley, a name that I don't know if everyone knows because he's kind of like the smaller regionals, but he's built up a record 8-7. He's faced a Sheik, so it's not like you guys aren't even new to him. You guys already game plan for him, so you kind of already have like a how-to. It worked great the first time already.
Mm.
Whatever he adapts to, I'm sure you guys can adapt to as well. What have you identified though as like his biggest strength coming into this?
His biggest strength, I would say, is probably his fast switch muscle movement. He's very he's explosive, he's jerky. In between his combinations, he's moving everything. His hand, like both of his hands, his head, both of his feet. He's just constantly in and out, in and out. But you touched on it before. He fought a Sheik. I was in a Sheik's corner for that fight, so I got to not even just see it on the stream, but see it live, like right up by the cage, see how he reacts to certain things, see how his gas tank was, and see really like firsthand what is coming my way, because the fight was only a couple of months ago, right? That fight was in what, March? No, in May.
And it
May,
was like
right? Yeah,
one of the
May,
first cards of the year.
yeah, May or June they were there. So and it's only August, so he didn't really have too much time to recover and then maybe tweak some things. He kind of just hopped right back into camp. So I think that plays well for me because what I saw is kind of what I'm gonna get. And with me, I fought back in April and I kind of just steamrolled Abdo. I just did whatever I wanted to him. And, we're looking forward to implementing that same type of, just walk through, fuck you up and leave type of deal come on Friday.
And touching on that too, the last fight was a short notice. Your opponent, per usual, got pitchitis, pulled out, and you got your new opponent. Good news, like Pressley, it doesn't really pull out.
Yeah.
So I mean, we should be seeing you versus Jay Pressley in a couple days. Especially at this point, I don't see anything that could be really take him out of a fight outside of like a terrible weight miss.
Yeah.
And knocking on the wood, he's never missed weight before. Don't see it happening now. You both are professionals on that side, and especially out of 15 pro fights on his side as well. Outside of that, how's training camp been for this one? Your typical go-to lazy ass question.
Oh, training camp. It's definitely been a good one. It's been a hard one, and it was long. Pause. But I just fought in April, and I took no damage. I was trying to hop in a card in June, didn't happen. Tried for July, nothing was really going on, and then we got this. So I really kind of just stayed in camp, stayed in shape, never really fell off. Didn't really have that couple week period of, all right, I got to get back into shape, get back into the groove of things. Like I just stayed right on it. So, I've had really like a 5-month camp for this 6-month camp. Like I've really been in camp all year, because if we're going back, I was going to fight Disnell in February. So I started camping for that, like around Christmas, around the New Year. So I was preparing for that. That didn't happen. Then I fought in April. So I just kind of stayed. So I've been in camp, 6-8 months. So I'm definitely ready to go. Peak fitness. My striking is feeling as sharp as it's ever been. My grappling is, just on another level right now. My cardio is through the roof. And, we made sure that we got our nutrition in, and we're sleeping good and all that good stuff. So I'm really looking forward to putting on, hopefully my best performance to date, come Friday.
And about the delay too. I mean, if you have an opponent, they pull out. If you don't have an opponent, promoters aren't calling. Mm-hmm. What do you think is like the issue there? That like we can't say there's not enough cards going on, because there's enough cards in our region that are going on. But like, why aren't promoters calling you? You bring a crowd, even up in Boston, you bring a crowd. So like, what do you think is like the issue there? Where, like, speak to the promoters, tell them to fucking book you. Like,
well, I mean, it's really not that the promoters aren't calling. It's because the phone rings and they say, hey, we got this guy, whatever. And I'll say, yeah. And then I won't hear anything back. I'm not saying that nobody will fight me, because I've had 9 fights. So obviously I could get fights sometimes, but, I don't know, man, guys. I don't know what it is about me. It's not like I'm starching everybody like 9 wins, 9 knockouts type of thing, 6-3. It's just, I think when people watch the film, they say, okay, he's going to be there the whole time. He's never been finished. He could grapple, he could strike. And I'm just really a tough fight for anybody, regardless of the amount of time that you get. And at this level now, where we're at, we're not like, I'm not at the debut professional fighter anymore. I'm more like looking to get out of the regionals, hopefully within the next fight or two, and make it up to the big show. So those are going to be the guys that I'm facing. And when they watch the film, I just think like, maybe there's an easier fight on the next block that, we don't have to risk everything that we worked for. But, like it, and that works for some guys. Some guys, they got, 10-0, 12-0 records. They fought 11 bums and they get to the UFC. And then if they make it, they make it. If not, they get exposed. Like, I don't want to get exposed. I want the good fights. I want people to be excited to watch me fight every single time. And, I want to just go out there, give it my all. And then when I do get called up to the bigger show, then I'll be ready to go, and I won't look out of place, and I won't get exposed.
Do you feel there's more chance now? I know at one point nearest Bellator, you had these options at your weight class. Because like, you are a bantamweight. You grab fights at featherweight, but you're a bantamweight.
Yeah.
For a while, like PFL wasn't doing bantamweight. And then apparently they realized this past year that like, oh, we have bantamweights on the roster. We should probably do something with them. So they're actually rolling out like a bantamweight division now. Do you see like PFL being an option now? Because like, I mean, if we're being honest, UFC bantamweight division is a little overstacked right now. They kind of need people to age out. So like, PFL comes to Atlantic City. You fought in Atlantic City. It's nothing new to you.
Yeah.
Like, do you think that's an option for you?
I mean, listen, man, wherever the money is, that's where I'm going. You know, I would love to make it to the UFC. Obviously, that's like everybody's goal. Everybody who does this, they want to get to the UFC. They want to be a UFC champion, and you know that's my main focus is to get to the UFC. But if for whatever the reason, you know, that didn't work out for me, and the PFL was ringing my phone and said, "Hey, here's a contract, here's some fights. You could, you know, fully support yourself off of fighting, and you come here and fight for us, and yeah, let's go." I'll
You know,
go
and
win a tournament, win $1 million.
yeah, like you have the style too that like, fits into PFL. Like the UFC is kind of like anti wrestling now. I know you're not 100% wrestling, but like PFL is like they realize it's mixed martial arts.
Yeah.
You're gonna have grappling, you're gonna have striking. It's not Muay Thai. Like it is a mix. That's what maybe really stood out to me. I was at the last Atlantic City card, and you cornered against the one guy that opened the card, and I was like, why isn't there more local flavor on this card?
Yeah.
And it kind of stuck with me now. I think we're out 2.5, 3 weeks out since then. But you know, onto this fight again, Jay Pressley. Again, you kind of mentioned that you're not fighting bums either. Like Jay may have had a little easier route with opponents, which is why his name was kind of like known for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you start breaking down, it's also the region he fights in.
Yeah.
Well, thankfully we're a little overprivileged in our Northeast region that we have fighters that actually will even fly in. And Jay kind of got stuck with whatever he was offered. How do you see this fight going with him, though? I mean, obviously you're going to get the win, but like, do you see a performance like a Sheik did against them, or if you write the script, how does this one go?
How it goes is I'm gonna go out there, get in his face, take him down, beat him up, take away some of that fast twitch muscle. You know, fill up his muscles with lactic acid, take away some of that cardio, because he does have pretty good cardio. You got to give credit where it's due. But you know, I think that he's really kind of just a one-trick pony. You know, he kind of boxes, like he can't grapple for shit. So I'm gonna show him that it is mixed martial arts and it's not, you know, just a stand-up affair. And you know, take him into the deep waters, beat him up on the ground, touch him up on the feet, maybe get a sub TKO. But I'm definitely going for the finish. Like, I really don't want this one to go to decision, especially just, you know, where it is. It's in the city. Like, anybody who plays sports in New York, regardless of your sport, whether it's MMA, baseball, hockey, football, like you always, and you're from New York, you're like, I want to, you know, perform in the city, like packed stadium, packed crowd, whether it's the Garden or Times Square or whatever, you know. It's just like something about like New York City. It just has like this aura around it. Like, even when I was telling people like, yeah, like my next fight, it's in the city, like people's head, they're like popping off their shoulders, like, what, you're fighting in Times Square? Like, oh, I'm buying the pay-per-view. So it definitely gave me an extra little kick in the ass to really go forward and you know, train my ass off for this fight.
Even I've been getting messages about this card as well too, because Times Square is not a venue you just hear.
Yeah.
Like, I think Times Square, I think crackhead Elmo taking photos. Like, that's what I think of Times Square. And you know, now to have this option of like a regional card there, I think it's huge, especially for a first debut of a promotion. You can't go bigger. Most promotions will go get like a Holiday Inn event hall and run the show there. That is the first one, and these guys are going right to the top. So August 15th, Pooch versus Jay Pressley. Long Island goes 2-0 over Pressley. So bad news. Spoiler alert. And then on to that, you know, is that whatever comes next? Do you have any whisperings of what might be next, or is it just waiting for that phone in the ring?
Yeah, I mean, we're kind of just waiting for the phone to ring, taking it one day at a time, one contract at a time, one fight at a time. You know, I've been doing this a while. I'm seasoned in the game. I know what it takes, and I have what it takes. And now it's just, you know, I have to go out there and prove it. So I'm gonna go out there and beat up Jay Pressley. I'm gonna call my shot, and then we'll see where that leads. If the phone rings for a bigger show, that's great. If not, then, you know, I'll probably hop back in there around November, December. Like I said, I've been in camp all year. Give the body a little time to recover. Still train, but just take the mind off competition a little bit. And yeah, we just got to take it one day at a time. That's all you can really do. You know, everything is in God's hands and God's plan. So if you try to mess with the plan, it's usually not going to go the way that you want it to. It goes the way that God wants it to. So
awesome. So August 15th, I'll link below. If you're in the area, tickets are still on sale. If not, there is a pay-per-view stream. And unlike a lot of other regional shows too, even the stream's not like $40. Like regional MMA, please stop charging $40 for streams. But yeah, all links will be below. I don't have a Stuart Little question this time. I don't have any fun. I mean, I guess random question. Where the fuck is Gregor Gillespie?